we've got to do. I was talking to somebody, I think at the holiday social, and they said, you know, maybe we ought to have a rule or a bylaw or whatever that everybody has to spend at least 1 year on the board. Well, that doesn't make any sense. That simply isn't feasible. But the idea is that people don't seem to understand until they get on the board. We've got one member right now who he just got reelected. 3 years ago, and he make no bones about it, he got on the board because he thought we were all full of it, and he was going to put a stop to it. Now he's the biggest proponent. And simply because he learned what was going on and didn't look at it with a jaundiced eye. So that's the big thing. That's something you can argue about, but it's not going to go. It's not going to go away. It reminds me of saying that what's his name, Philip deGrasse Tyson. He's got a favorite saying that science is true whether you believe it or not. And that's what's going on with that lake. The lake is filling up. It gets worse every year, and it's not going to go away, and it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not, it's happening, and it needs to be taken care of. I've told people this till I'm blue in the face, that this community is not like your normal subdivision. In a normal subdivision, if I take care of my house, you take care of your house, she takes care of her house, everything's fine and dandy. Property values remain great. It's a great place to live. People want to live there, and they're willing to pay to do it. Here, we can all take care of our houses. If we don't take care of that lake, our property values plummet. Because, and this is a phenomena of this kind of a situation, that it takes group action. We all have to, if you're going to buy in here, you have to believe that your neighbors are all going to come together sometime and bite the bullet and do it, or you're taking a huge risk. But you have to have, in order for this to succeed, you have to have faith in one another. And I don't think we've gotten there yet.
Hopefully we will.
Hopefully we will.
Let's see. Oh, let's shift to some. Do you have any fun stories to tell? Name names about people on the lake. Something you could share.
Yeah, well, some of them I can't share, but you pointed out our yard art down there by the water, and I don't remember what year we got that. I bought that for my wife as a Christmas present, I think. But at any rate, so we had it installed down there, and we were gone for a weekend, and we come driving up East Lake and look over, and we go, what in the hell is that? Well, we go out there, and somebody had, you see how it's made kind of like a windmill with 4 arms, and the end of each arm is a circle. Well, somebody had gone out there and put women's underwear around each of those circles. And so we had a pretty good idea who did that. The girls across the street. So we took all that down, and then I snuck over there and covered their garage door with boxers. But ever since then, we call that panty raid.
If there's one thing you would want people to know and remember about what it's like to live on Dunlap Lake, what would it be?
That they have to remember that this is not unique, but it's a very unusual place to be living in a large metropolitan area. There are only a handful of these, I'm thinking Holiday Shores, Lake St. Louis, that might be it.
Creve Coeur Lake.
Are there homes on Creve Coeur Lake? I don't think so. I think it's just part of the park. And so you have something that is extremely unusual and it needs to be taken care of. You have something that other people don't. And you have that while living in, you know, as I say, in small town America, 30 minutes from the yards. So this is just an extraordinary place to live where you can just walk out your door and go do those, you know, everything from fishing to ice skating in, you know, 12 months a year. People need to remember that. People need to value that. And one of the things, one of the changes I've seen, and one of the things that makes me hopeful for the future is as I said before, for many years there was very little development on the lake. Even then, there were just small, inexpensive houses, weekend kind of fishing cottages and that kind of stuff. You have, but since I've been on the board, and since I first came to Dunlap Lake, property values have gone up dramatically. People have discovered this lake, and there's been a big turnover in the, not just the number, but the types of people who are buying places out here. We now have lots, vacant lots on this lake that are selling for $200,000 and $300,000 when you know, you could have come out here and bought a house 20 years ago for $150,000, a nice house for $150,000. You can't do that anymore, and so there's people are waking up to this, and I think the people who are coming out here and spending that kind of money are they're going to demand that this lake be taken care of. They're buying here, they're spending that kind of money to be on this lake and to enjoy this lake and everything that it provides for them. Everything from being able to tool around on your pontoon boat and have a glass of wine, to taking the kids out for the fishing derby. There was another funny story. It was, I forget what year this was, but we had two of the grandkids and niece and nephew, and I don't know, they may be ranged in age from about 4 to 8 or something like that, here for the fishing derby. And so Barbara and I are taking care of them, you know, putting worms on hooks and all this kind of stuff out here in the backyard. And it was the dog before the one we have now. One of the kids catches a fish, bang, he's on it immediately. He ends up getting hooked in the mouth. We have to cut him loose. Barbara has to take off and take him to the vet to get the hook fished out of his mouth. I've got these 4 little kids that I've got fishing out there, and I'm on the tree, I'm snagged on the bottom, I've got a fish, I need a worm. I'm just running around like a madman with all these kids. And it took her a couple hours probably to get back before I had to deal with all that. That was a fun time though.
severe grandpa duties. Combat pay.
Uh-huh.
Anything else you want to leave with the group?
No, I can't think of anything. I've probably talked too long as it is.
No, this was great.
You're going to have to edit this down.
Yeah. You got anything else you could think of? Just kind of went through my whole list, and
All right.
I think this was fun. Oh, you had some nice stories to tell. Anybody else you want to rat out?
Nothing that you want to put on film. No.
Peg's gotten some good information. I have gotten